Hey guys, thanks for watching Weddings by Cled. Today's episode is a fun one. We're talking about wedding day disasters. I know it doesn't sound like that much fun, but it can be. I mean, there's bloopers out there, it's not a perfect world, and sometimes these things just happen. So today we're gonna talk about how to avoid them or how to handle them if they do happen. So, there's my blooper right there. Hey Reggie. So one of the first things, and this sounds like an absolute nightmare, a vendor either cancels or doesn't show up. Oh my gosh, wow. This is a big one. You know why? Because you've put so much time and so much effort into putting together your dream team and choosing your vendors, and it's like you're gonna lose one of them. Well, at least if they let you know before the wedding, it may be something unavoidable or out of their control. Perhaps a family member got sick, maybe there was a death in the family. So you have to be understanding with the vendor and trust them to find a substitute. Because if this is a vendor that you got to know along the way, say it's your photographer and they've done your engagement session and they've gotten to know your personality, they are going to find a suitable substitute, because trust me, they're not excited about this either. They want to do your wedding and they can't. Now, the second part of this nightmare is even worse, and this is if a vendor doesn't show up on the wedding day. I know it sounds absolutely horrible, but you guys, there's accidents, horrible things happen, and sometimes, again, beyond their control, they might not show up. So what do? The first thing you need to do is to consult with the other vendors, because listen, this is an industry, this is a community, and they are there to have your back. So they're gonna know, we gotta help out this bride, and they're going to make some phone calls, and trust me, they're going to find a viable substitute for whichever vendor didn't show up, and will make sure that this gets fixed. Second thing that sometimes I see is that dresses can rip, dresses can tear, dresses can get stained, and yeah, it's a nightmare. It's your wedding dress, okay? It happens, but here's how to handle it, okay? Take a deep breath. It happens. Grass stains, whatever, during pictures. I mean, you gotta live, okay? So bring an emergency survival kit. The first thing that you should have packed in that emergency survival kit should be sewing materials. Make sure you have needle and thread so that you could easily fix a tear. And then if you happen to get a stain, you can have one of those cute little Tide stain remover sticks, or you know what else works? Chalk. Chalk can cover a stain on a wedding gown like nobody's business, so don't worry. Now, if you're like my friend who decided to hop on an ATV towards the end of her wedding reception and her train got all caught up in the axle, her whole dress came off. Now, if that disaster happens, you guys, you just gotta embrace it, and that's what she did. The third wedding day disaster is something that we have zero control over, but the opportunity to address before it happens, and that is weather. So many of you worry so much about whether it's gonna rain, or is it gonna be too cold, or is it gonna be too hot? Okay, so if you're having an outdoor wedding, you kind of have to be okay with the elements, but you can also prepare for them. So call the rental company, see how soon you need to, or how long you can wait until you have to order a tent. You can also ask your planner how long you can wait before you order a tent. Make sure you have those cute white umbrellas in case it's really sunny or it happens to rain a little bit. And make sure you have blankets in case it's a little cold. Easy, right? And also, let me remind you that the cloudiest days are the days that you get the best photography. You don't have any shadows from the sun. An overcast sky gives you those beautiful, soft, fuzzy pictures that everybody loves. So don't despair if it rains a little bit on your wedding day, y'all. The number 4 disaster, something that I see sometimes, is something may show up that you don't really like. Now, you don't know, in the wedding planning process, you really don't know what things are gonna look like until the actual wedding day. So you have all these conversations with your vendors, you tell them what you want, and then On the wedding day, you may look down and you may see a flower that you don't like, or you may see something going by on the catering tray that you don't like. The best thing to do is to let the vendor know as soon as possible. Don't hold it in, don't hold a grudge, don't get mad, just let them know. They are professionals. And the more time they have to fix the situation, the better. So don't hold it in, and if you don't want to personally let them know, tell your planner to tell them, your mom, a trusted friend. But more times than not, they're not perfect. So if something goes a little awry, they're gonna get it fixed for you. Now, the way to handle this from the get-go is to make sure when you have these conversations with your vendors, make sure you are very precise in your descriptions, especially if you're that bride who is very picky and wants what she wants. Make sure you're very precise and make sure you get written descriptions of what everything is gonna look like, because then you kind of have a leg to stand on the wedding day if it's not exactly what you expected. So the number 5 disaster I find a little funny because I've seen it happen. Say the ring drops in the middle of the ceremony. Best man gets a little bit shaky when he takes that ring out of his pocket and plop, it falls to the ground. Now, the funniest thing I've ever seen happen is the entire bridal party started looking for the ring. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious, but you don't want to have that blooper happening on your wedding day. The way to control that is to just have the officiant look for the ring. That way it's just one person and there remains a little bit of decorum in the middle of the ceremony instead of everyone going crazy and looking for the ring. And trust me, the officiant will find the ring. The officiant will find the ring. Trust me, I don't know your officiant, but he'll find the ring. Okay guys, so the number 6 wedding day disaster, and it's not really number 6 for any particular reason, but sometimes guests show up with a surprise person on their arm. Now, you might not have had +1 on your invitation. It might not have said "and guest," but they do it anyway. I know it's wrong, it's bad, it's terrible. It's gonna cost you another meal. But you know what, you guys? Suck it up. It's really embarrassing to call someone out on that right then and there. So the way to handle this, and this also goes for guests that may show up that didn't RSVP, and give them the benefit of the doubt because their RSVP could have gotten lost in the mail. Always have a few empty seats scattered around the ballroom. So have your planner should know and your venue manager should know that there's 2 seats at table 8 and there may be 3 seats at table 11. And it's not that big of a deal if they don't get filled, but they're there in case this happens. And when those people don't see an RSVP card for their uninvited guest or at all, they'll go up to the planner or the venue manager and ask, and we can just usher them to those seats. You know, my mom always said, people may have bad manners, people may not follow etiquette, but it's even worse to call them out on it. It makes you look bad. So this is the way to handle this wedding disaster gracefully. So the number 7 wedding day disaster are those inappropriate or really long toasts. I know, you guys, it's one of my biggest pet peeves. I talked about it before in other episodes. So the best way to deal with this, honestly, just cut them off, okay? These long toasts are going into your DJ time, your dancing time, your wedding time. So just tell your DJ or your band it is okay to just take the mic and say thank you. You're done, because it's not cool. No long toasts, please. The number 8 wedding day disaster. Oh, this is one of my favorites. Zits, boils, and breakouts. And we can add rashes to that too. Guys, it happens. We're stressed out, we're under pressure, and that's when the zits pop out. So there's really nothing we can do about them popping out, but you can make sure and have a professional makeup artist in the house. They are gonna be able to cover everything and anything that may pop up anywhere on your body. And also, don't get a facial within the whole week before the wedding. Have your facial a couple of weeks beforehand, and then your skin has a chance to calm down before the actual wedding day. The number 9 wedding day disaster, you guys, is family drama. And this is something that I hate to see. No place for it at a wedding, you guys. The best way to handle this, and I know you can't control people, but is to have a sit down with your parents or whoever the drama may be around, and just be like, listen, this is my wedding day, this is our wedding day. Don't ruin it with whatever you have. Just check it at the door, you guys. Another way to address this situation is to make sure your planner knows and your photographer knows, and that way they won't be seated near each other, they won't be in pictures together. This is where your shot lists are really important, and just keep those people away from each other. And guys, if you're watching this, just be an adult, okay? Just check it all at the door and get through the day. It's like 8 hours. You can do it. The number 10 thing that I see as a wedding day disaster is when guests drink too much. Now, granted, it's a celebration, we're all throwing back a few, but we're having fun. Some people go just a little bit overboard, and this can not only be a safety issue for them, but it's also your liability and your venue's liability and your caterer's liability. So some of the things you can do to address this situation is you can give out Uber vouchers. They have Uber vouchers that you can give out. You can make sure that you have a shuttle that guests can get on to get back to their hotel or wherever they may be staying. And you know what? Some towns actually have free taxi service for those of us who happen to be a little more inebriated than others. Make sure you cut your bar off an hour before your reception is over and have lots and lots of bottled water to dilute that alcohol and keep everyone hydrated. You guys, those are 10 big ones. I would love to hear more in the comments. Thank you for watching Weddings by Cled. Please subscribe to our channel. We'll keep the content coming at you, and it helps us realize our dreams.